and yes, definitely foreshadowing too, because and we'll get into it with what you do now in life. But your time in the NFL, and having that experience and having Priest at your side there, it sounds like that was your biggest takeaway. So what was your favorite moment outside of that? Like your experience, was it a play or a moment in the locker room where you just felt some sort of magic and you're like, man, this is it. I made it.
Well,
This is so cool.
man, that's a great question. I built relationships with all the guys. Obviously, Priest being my roommate was special. We talk about 52 all the time, being arguably the greatest linebacker of all time, and we had to go and get after it with him. You know what I mean? And the reality was, people knew you. There are certain things you couldn't hit him certain ways because that was our bread and butter. I learned a lot from Ray. The reality was my locker was right next to Ray. So, I was roommates with Priest, and then my locker was next to Ray Lewis. And so I was able to absorb all of that mentorship and how he approached the game and
Mhm.
what he looked for. And man, you talk about, that guy make you want to run through a freaking wall. And so it was just like really cool to see how his mentality was on the defensive side of the ball. And I knew I had to bring that same mentality on the offensive side of the ball. And Priest can attest to this. We had arguably the biggest offensive lineman in NFL history, and they love to fight. So we knew that if we got into a fight, we knew we had big, Jeff Blackshear and big Zeus and big Jonathan Ogden. All them
Ah,
boys was
Jonathan
ready to go.
Ogden,
Like
that's
all
right.
you had to do was say the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Priest talks about it a lot on the pod, that get back, man. So, that's cool. You guys had them in your corner for sure. I love it.
Hey, I gotta say this, Mark.
Yeah.
Now, and Priest know this. I don't know if y'all talked about this, but maybe y'all should have a segment called A Gap Conversations because Priest, you got to have a mentality, and you got to have a mindset, and it's a business decision to run through that A gap.
That's right.
And if you play running back or linebacker, you know what that A gap is. And some people don't want to go in that A gap.
Yeah, some people like to tiptoe. Some people like to get in there and stick their cleat out there and look both ways before they go in there. Or you got to get to the point where you just got to trust your linemen, and you got to
Yeah.
depend on the way that the play develops is what I'm trying to say, and so it'll give you that opportunity. But I can tell you what, man, there's been times where I've ran through that A gap, and I was anticipating a safety coming down and hitting me, and so I ran through that A gap, head down, ready to hit some collision, and with nothing on the other side but the grass. You know what I mean? It's just like I should have kept my head up, but you learn very quickly, how to develop how you go through that A gap, man. So I like what you're talking about, Rob.
Hey, and Mark, I'm gonna go back to the question you asked. I'll say one of the highlights for me may be different. It wasn't a play. It wasn't someone I met. Every chance I get, man, I want to honor the lady because without her, there wouldn't be any me. And that's my grandmother, Alberta Watson. She's gone on in heaven. Priest has met her. She came and she cooked, and Priest has even come to my hometown, Louisiana,
Mhm.
when we've celebrated her for a birthday. But man, our first game was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Priest and I took a picture, and we had a friend, a teammate, Tyrus McLeod, let me use his big Suburban because my family had come in town. And the highlight of my career was taking my grandmother to the White House, man, and getting her out of
Nice.
Tyrus's Suburban and letting her see the White House. Back then, you can get really close.
Yeah.
And she got out of the car and she looked with tears in her eyes and said, "My God, I thought I'd never see this in a million years." And man, that look on her face made me feel like I had, like I owned the world because I was able to show her and provide that experience for her. That was my highlight of my NFL career.
That's so cool. What a great memory to have, and I'm glad you got that. So let's celebrate your grandma a bit here. What was she bringing to the table? No nonsense. Did she have you in check? Like what was a day in the life with grandma like?
Man, love.
Okay.
She taught me love, integrity. Listen, she was not afraid to work. The lady was just so skilled and resourceful, and she was the matriarch of our family, and she just wanted everyone to be happy. And it didn't matter who you were in my family. Everyone has lived in Madeira's house. And I share this, man. Again, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I remember when my mom passed, and she added a room onto her house just for me, and the builder built the room incorrectly. You know, when it rained, it ain't supposed to rain inside the room. Well, when it rained, man, water
Jeez.
would come down my walls, and I was like, man. And you know, we didn't have no air ducts going in there, so I had to keep the door open to get air and heat. But man, I didn't want to complain because she did that just for me. And so that's what I mean when I say you either running from something or to something. I was running from that situation because I wanted to make it better for her. And so again, as I'm thinking through this, like, you know, Priest helping me mindset, save, I was able to pay her house off and provide for her in terms of like, hey, you don't have to have a mortgage payment anymore, and do some things for her. So in her latter days, man, that's what the NFL did for me. And I think it's all because of those angels that lined up. Me meeting Priest, me meeting Ray, me meeting, Priest mentioned Eric Rhett. Eric Rhett was the mouth of the South that talked.
That's right.
And you remember Rhett,
That's
Priest. I
right.
mean, he'll talk you up, so you got to go in there and make some stuff happen. And all of that, man, all the ingredients count for me, and I'm just very grateful that how the alignment formulated for me in during that time.
Breaking news from Bet365. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Sign up, place a bet for $5 and get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, player props, futures, and so much more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Hey, do you have a gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. Or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 21 plus only, 18 plus in Kentucky. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, and select parishes in Louisiana, Maryland, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia. $10 minimum deposit required. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only.
This has been a Playmaker production.